Hey, what's happening everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we have ourselves the Edifier G4 TE. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So as you guys know, Edifier is known for their fantastic audio quality on their bookshelf speakers, such as the ones that I have right here. I have already reviewed those about 3 years ago. They were on my computer and now they are being used on my TV. That being said, there's their awesome sound quality stack up inside this headset. This is their latest gaming headset. It's got RGB, it comes in black and white, and I think the black one does have a better looking aesthetic, but hey, maybe you like this one. That being said, let's go ahead and take a quick look around it. Starting with the detachable microphone. So this microphone actually sounds really good. It's got a 3.5mm interface, and it's very flexible, as it would help. Now we'll get back to it in just a bit here, but let's go ahead and talk about the actual comfort levels, because that is something that a lot of new gaming headsets out there don't get very right. And in this case, it is actually pretty comfortable, as you can probably tell from these nice deep cushions. They are soft, and we do have a cloth insert here, but it is not padded. It's just a cloth insert with some lettering telling you which side it is. Now, are these earpads removable? Well, not exactly. It is not the standard type they can just pull out. It might be just clipped in. You might need to rotate it. I'm not exactly sure. But one thing that I can say is that the earpads here are very nicely stitched. They're pretty comfortable, and I doubt you're going to be replacing the earpads on them anytime soon. Next up, we have the headband, and it is padded on the inside, and it's flexible and adaptable, so you don't have to constantly change the height. So there's nothing to adjust, you just put it on, and you are good to go. Some nice braided cables on both sides, and of course, some nice clean branding on the top. So overall, in terms of comfort, I really can't complain. It's pretty good. The cable here does not get in the way, even though it's got inline controls that terminate about 2 feet away from the headset. And the controls here consist of a couple things. First of all, we have the RGB on and off switch. It is a dedicated switch, and no, unfortunately, you cannot change anything in the RGB, and we'll take a look at it in just a bit here. We've also got a dedicated microphone mute switch, as well as a volume dial on the side here, which is very handy. Then it continues out and terminates into a single USB cable, and overall, the cable here is pretty nice. So anyway, speaking of RGB, it does look good with the RGB. The colors here are very nice and calm. They're more like pastel colors. It's not too crazy. It doesn't flash really quickly. It's just a very nice slow rainbow cycle that cycles through all the colors. And again, it is definitely not tacky. It does look pretty good with the white, and it probably looks better on the black version since it will stand out even more. And again, it is not addressable. You cannot change the colors. What you see here is all you get. And one thing you'll notice when it's in the off state and you turn it on, there's a little animation that will happen where it flickers up and down, left and right, and then it starts cycling. So that's what it looks like in the dark. Looks pretty sweet, stands out, and definitely not in your face. So yeah, comfortable headset, looks great. I've actually used it for gaming, used it for work, and also used it for phone calls. I've had it on for hours, and no, the clamping power here isn't too overpowering, and if it is, you can always go ahead and stretch it, and you should be good to go. So yeah, it is a very flexible headset, and as you can see, it hasn't broken down under this pressure. So yeah, it definitely passes the stretch test. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the software and check out the audio quality. So here we are with the Edifier gaming software, and as you can see here, we have controls for both your headset and microphone. Now at first glance, it may not look like much, but there's actually controls hidden inside a right click on the headset icon as well as the microphone icon. And I don't know why it's done like that, but that's how you access it if you were confused when installing the software for the first time. That being said, we got some info on the top here telling you what kind of settings you have on, a general volume slider for your headset, as well as your microphone right here. You also have this option right here, which basically lets you listen to your own voice when talking through the mic. But in my case, it's very faint. You have to boost up the audio really high inside the actual controller to actually be able to listen to yourself. But if you want, you can play around with it. Your mileage may vary. That being said, we're currently talking through the microphone at 100%. Let's go ahead and drop it to 50%. And the settings here are just mirrored off the Windows sliders. If we go ahead and right click and click on the sample rate, again we can see that it's just a copy of the Windows controls. And that's what that sounds like on default, that's what it sounds like on high, and that's what it sounds like on low.
And of course, you could do things like sound like a dinosaur.
Or a little rubber ducky, quack quack, or even
If you want to be an Italian mafia member, you could do that, or he can become
a Wendy's mascot. And that's what he sounds like.
Moving on, we have the microphone boost, and basically this is just a toggle switch to enable the automatic gain control that is inside the Windows software. But basically that helps if you're using your microphone farther away. Basically it will give you a boost, and it will also increase and decrease your microphone levels accordingly, except it really never works all that well. So let's get out of here and jump into the equalizer. So this is where you can go ahead and do most of your configurations. I've got my commander preset right here. That's what I recommend, or really recommend starting out with. Everyone has their own taste, so you can go ahead and try the presets. You might not like them, but I would recommend playing around and getting it tuned to your audio preference. So at this point, you're probably asking, what does it sound like out of the box? Well, all I can say is that the trebles here are very high. Personally, I'm very sensitive to trebles, and I really notice it here. So they're a bit too sharp, and that's why I've dialed it down by about 3 decibels. Now as for the mids, they're pretty clean, but I kind of gave them a boost here just to give them a bit more presence. And in terms of bass, it does have some bass out of the box, but of course you have the equalizer here, and I've given it a boost of 5. It's not overwhelming, and it's not lackluster. So the bass here is pretty decent. And again, overall the audio quality here does favor footsteps, which are the trebles and the high noises in games. It is a gaming headset, but of course you can dial it down and tune it to your liking, and really squeeze different qualities to your liking using the equalizer. And now that I think about it, it has a very similar sound profile to a HyperX Cloud 2 USB module. Trebles on gaming headsets are usually very strong, while bass being dialed down just so you can get a better presence of where you are in the game and if anyone is walking around you. So we got the equalizer, but we also have the environmental effects. Now this one I think most people are just going to have off by default, and this is where you can go ahead and make yourself sound like you're in a bathroom, a forest, an arena, a hangar, a karaoke bar, dizzy, drugged. Now this is something that a lot of gaming headsets advertise, but they're not always that great. But in this case, it does actually give you a whole lot more control. The default option, I don't feel like it gives a whole lot of presence, but at the end of the day, you can go ahead and tweak this to your liking and kind of make it sound more dynamic, because the default setting just doesn't cut it. But moving on, we have the X-Ear Sing effects, and this is something that is pretty damn cool. Basically, this is something that allows you to cut out voices straight from music videos, straight from songs. Whatever you're listening to, you can cut out voices on the fly. The delay is very, very small. It's unnoticeable, but once it kicks in, you'll hear it. But yeah, if you want to see what something sounds like without voices, if you want a karaoke effect, you can do it here on the fly, and it's honestly just really cool. No, that's what vocal fading does, but key shifting actually just changes how someone sounds on a video. Basically, you can just kind of pitch it up or pitch it down to make their voice higher or lower. And finally, we have the X-Ear Surround Max, and this is something that actually works pretty well. And honestly, this one does actually affect your audio, and it does make it sound better. Out of all these options, what I recommend having on are Surround Sound X, 7.1, and of course your equalizer to whatever settings you want. And overall, I can't complain. It's a pretty comfortable headset, it sounds pretty good, and the software here is pretty decent. Yes, it's kind of confusing, but it does give you enough options to kind of really tweak your audio.
So with that being said, do I recommend this headset at $75? Well, considering what you can get currently on the market, this is a fantastic deal. And again, I can't emphasize how comfortable these things are. I've had them on for hours on end, and I've had no issues with them whatsoever. They just got some really nice comfortable ear pads alongside a very nice loose headband that doesn't get in the way. And what can I say? It checks off all the boxes, it feels good, and the price point, I would say, is just right. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.